When looking at the original NieR title that came to North America, one of the strongest positives to that game was its voice casting. It really brought out their A-game on that cast, having voice actors such as Jamieson Price as NieR, Laura Bailey as Kaine, Liam O'Brien as Grimoire Vice, DC Douglas as Grimoire Noir, Yuri Lowenthal as Jacob, Eden Regal as Devil and Popola, Julianne Taylor as Emile. Well, that's to name most of the cast. Their voices provided extremely likable and emotional characters that you can't help but love when playing that game. NieR Automata also has an extremely strong cast of voice actors both in Japanese and in English. However, there has been a hot debate over which language is better in the overall roles that it has. Once again, nerds fighting each other over the subs versus dubs topic in the anime and video game industry, almost as much as waifu wars, which in this game is clearly to be. As for a late introduction, my name is Wander Who Gives a Fuck, and today I will talk about, compare, discuss, and analyze both the Japanese and English voice actors for NieR Automata. That being said, I'm not here to bash the voice actors, or criticize their work. I'm here to showcase the character in question, look at their personality, and from there, compare which voice actors managed to capture the original intention of the character. This video is made after I've completed the game for the third time in a row, and putting over 100 hours into it. So yes, I do have enough experience with the game to be making these kinds of judgments. Well, kind of. I'll try and keep bias out of the way since I prefer the Japanese voice actors as opposed to the English ones. But that being said, the Japanese voice actors are the original here, so the English casts are the ones who are being put up to the test. And yes, spoilers for all of NieR Automata. Now I'm gonna go ahead and make a bold claim here. I don't think the Japanese cast has any weakness whatsoever in terms of their roles. They perfectly capture each of their individual characters and who they are as a person. So to speak, they're not really people. The only thing that people can try and complain about is the over-the-top acting that they have. However, that actually manages to capture one of the themes, which is what it means to be human, since all of the characters are either androids or machines. Their over-the-top acting, emotional moments, I feel like, are done on purpose to show how these characters cannot handle the feelings they have, and their reaction is almost like an explosion of emotion once they hit their breaking point. As for the English side, this is where the comparison actually starts. But as a first, let me exclude some people from the list just because their performance is just so damn good. First excluded from the list is Emile, Japanese voiced by Mai Kitawaki and English voiced by Julie Ann Taylor. Both actors are perfect when it comes to voicing Emile, no questions asked. Although their voices truly shine in the original NieR title, they still do an amazing job at voicing him, specifically during Emile's secret boss quest.
But even so, all of this is wrong! No matter how hard or how painful, they never gave up. They kept fighting because they believed they could overcome someday! Isn't that right, Kaine? Even if it's pointless, you still have to do it! Because this is the world my friend tried to save! だからって、こんなの間違ってる。どんなに苦しくても、どんなに辛くても、あの人たちは諦めたりしなかった。いつか乗り越えられると信じて戦ってたんだ。そうですよね、カイネさん。無駄だと分かっていても、やらなきゃダメなんだ。だってあの人が守ろうとした世界なんだから。
That being said, I cannot do a just comparison. It would be more appropriate for me to do a voice actor comparison, not for this game, but for NieR 1. But that's another video that I probably won't make, because this video is just too spontaneous. Next up off the list is Devil and Popola, Japanese voiced by Ryoko Shiraishi, and English voiced by Claudia Lenz. I mean, Eden Regal? Wait, what? Oh, they're the same person. What? Why? Once again, these two characters are from the original NieR title. Kind of. They're different models, but you know what I mean. Both voice actors represent the character perfectly, Popola being the kind-hearted and soft-spoken sister, and Devila being the more emotional and charismatic one. Since they're better represented in the original NieR, again, I cannot do the comparison justice. Now let's exclude a character that's not actually from the original NieR game. We have our robot Pascal, Japanese voiced by the famous and adorable Yuki Aoi, and the English voiced by Laura Bailey. Wait, what was that? It's not Laura Bailey? Oh, come on, it totally sounds like her. Oh wait, it's actually not? It's Alexis Tipton. Oh, alright. Pascal's voice overall is very calming, peaceful, and kind for most of the game. It's extremely easy to do in terms of a role, and is, well, obviously well done, capturing the passive and neutral nature of her. Him? God damn it, seriously now, it's a robot with an adorable voice and it's a him? I can't help it. As for Pascal's climactic scenes during her despair chapter, both of them nail it on the head, as it drew me into the intense emotions shown through those moments.
No, how can this?
Finally, the last two excluded off the list is Pod 042, whose Japanese voice is Hiroki Yasumoto and English voice by DC Douglas, who, if you listened to earlier, also voiced Grimoire Noir, and Pod 153, whose Japanese voice is Kaoru Akiyama, and English voice by Abby Trott. Now, it's hard to actually do a comparison in terms of voice acting when your characters are emotionless robots. This is purely just performance in terms of which actor you like better, since the delivery of each line is perfect. Not that it's hard to do the voice of an emotionless robot, I do it at work all the time. However, in the end I do like Hiroki over DC Douglas. Sorry. Alright, let's start the damn list. Starting off, we have our main character, 2B. Japanese voiced by Yui Ishikawa and English voiced by Kira Buckland. 2B is described by 9S specifically as being rather aloof, cold even, as well as distant, mostly from 9S, who she's tasked to execute when he goes out of line. 2B's dialogue in-game is extremely serious and by the books, which is shown best in the prologue, where you expect her to be emotionless at the start.
だから誰かと一緒に行動できるって楽しいんです。
感情を持つことは禁止されている。
すみません。
それと3はつけなくていい。
But in fact, she just has a tough exterior, which houses a delicate emotional side.
今から修復する。もっと止血ジェルと論理ウイルスワクチン。それと
非推奨当該 9S のバイタル低下はこの場での応急
うるさい。
止めること
いいから出して。
If you were to compare things to an anime trope, it would be a kudere. She also doesn't speak her mind, unlike 9S, and when things like side quests go bad, she tends to be extremely quiet. She also hides her intentions, such as telling 9S that emotions are prohibited, not just because rules are rules, but it's to keep him in check so she doesn't have to kill him. Kira Buckland's performance is fairly similar, except for one big difference. Her attitude.
Kinda deep, really. I mean, where does the wind blow from? What do you think, 2B?
Don't know, don't care.
2B? Little help here?
Huh? You're the chatty one. Work it out. Let's take this bastard down.
Whoa there! Watch your fucking mouth. Watch your mouth. Watch your beautiful mouth. Where was I going with this? Oh, right. So 2B has a lot of sass now, which is more suitable for A2, who's supposed to have the extremely sassy and aggressive attitude in the first place, not 2B, who's supposed to fulfill the role of a stone-cold killer doll, as a foil to 9S's happy-go-lucky emotional kid. Overall, Kira's performance still manages to capture the main aspect of her character, but albeit a bit more English side of her. Next on the list we have our second main character, 9S, Japanese voiced by Natsuki Hanai, and English voiced by Kyle McCarley, aka not Yuri Lowenthal from what I originally thought when I first heard him. 9S in-game is very polite, kind, and formal when you first meet him, calling 2B-san or ma'am when first meeting her, and is extremely emotional throughout the game, for better or worse. He's as curious and knowledgeable about subjects as he is narrow-minded at times for things like machines, an overall dangerous combination for an android, which is why 2B is around him in the first place. His open thoughts are closely shared with ours at first, being the most human character in all of NieR Automata. As he slowly deteriorates over time, his emotions show through rather than what he's supposed to be known as at first, which is the voice of reason while you're 2B. His complex love-hate relationship with 2B is also one of the strongest emotional feelings he has throughout the game, which I will cover in another video. In the English audio, Kyle McCarley is probably the strongest English actor in Automata, perfectly capturing the character of 9S and managing to be on equal levels with even Natsuki himself in terms of quality and emotional performance. The only problem, and why it's on the list in the first place, is how 9S is handled in the game. Many of his lines are changed to fit an English audience.
You see? Total slave driver. Whoosh.
They'll find out in the end. And so will we.
Okay, that's grim. Damn it! We'll never get anywhere like this!
Once again, swearing is implemented onto a character who shouldn't be swearing, at least until Part C, where his psychological state is, well, questionable. When playing through this game in English, my immersion was in fact broken on just how bad his lines are and how inappropriate they are for an android. Did the localization team forget he's an android? Androids don't make whip sound effects. They don't blow loads into
Lay down some fire in its stupid mouth.
They don't swear like a motherfucker. They don't say
us.
all this weird shit. Oh, gee willikers, Batman, we gotta kill all the machines. What the fuck, localization team? The localization team even made the mistake of having 9S say yeah way too much without being backtalked by it, because as we all know, one affirmation will suffice. This is just more of a problem on how the localization was handled with 9S's character and personality. However, this is not in fact Kyle's fault. I love you, Kyle. However, this change can be fitting with the theme if you look at it from a different perspective. 9S in Japanese as an android, slowly becoming more emotionally human over the course of the game, while 9S in English is already so close to being human that the line is blurred, so much so that your average person would think he is a human at first look. So overall, the performance in the game is amazing. However, like 2B, the localization is the main thing that hurts the original intention of 9S and how you're supposed to see him. And on to our third main character, A2, Japanese voiced by Chiaki Kano and English voiced by Cherami Lei. A2's character is pretty simple in that she's basically 2B with a big fat attitude to booty. Boo. She's cold, aggressive, and quickly prone to violence when tempered.
This pod has concerns regarding your HUD Unit A2's predictive skills.
I'd be more concerned about me smashing your face if I were you.
Proposal. Evade.
It's not that easy, you dumbass!
God damn it.
Japanese to English change actually works well with how her character is supposed to be handled. A hardcore bitch. An important note is how well done her back and forth with Pod 042 is handled, and as well her emotional scenes kept the overall impact and tension that it's supposed to have.
I never quite realized how beautiful this world is.
And there's not much else to say since they're both pretty similar in their characteristics and tone, so yeah. Now on to important side characters, which is where the problems actually arise in this scenario. First off is the commander herself, Japanese voiced by Chiaki Kano again, and English voiced by... unknown. She's not even listed in the credits, or any site whatsoever. I even tried making a Reddit post about it, and the best response was how no one, not even the crew or Kyle, knew who she was. So this is gonna be weird. In-game, the commander is a very take-charge, loud, booming, motivational leader of the bunker's Yorha units.
思い返せ故郷を奪われた苦しみを我々は諦めはしない海を空を大地をおぞましき機械生命体に奪われた地球を取り戻す本作戦の成功をもって今ここでこの戦争を終わらせるのだ人類に栄光あれ
The term slave driver is somewhat inappropriate, as her extremely strong voice manages to motivate even me when being ordered by her and her extremely large hips. Oh my. Sorry. When looking at the English voice actor, I don't know, was it just some random homeless woman who got lost? Seriously now, I feel absolutely nothing. No motivation, no chills, not a thing. Even her last lines feel lackluster compared to the absolute beautiful delivery at the beginning of Part C from her.
トゥービーもう騎士が死ね行けトゥービー
2B, this place is lost!
Commander! Move it, 2B! That's an order!
In all honesty, she feels like she could be more fitting as just another random Yorha unit, rather than the big shot in charge, which is just kind of disappointing and sad overall. Now it's time to move on to the operators of the bunker. Operator 6-0 and 21-0. 6-0's voice actors are Keiko Isobe for Japanese, and English voice is Cassandra Lee Morris, while 21-0's Japanese voice actor is Miari Hatsumi, and English voice is Connor Kelly. 6-0's Japanese voice is probably the biggest, gayest moe blob I've ever seen. I love it. Her cheerful nature and her colorful attitude really foils 2B. Their back and forth conversations show the great dialogue between the two.
もうバンカーにいられないです。
それは困る。作戦に支障があるから。
2B さんは私を必要としてくれるんですか？
B 型戦闘モデルにはオペレーターのサポートが必要不可欠。
Cassandra Lee Morris's performance on 6-0, however, just can't be as moe. This is North America after all. No one's as stupidly moe here. It's as close as you can possibly get. A girly girl.
There's this operator I kind of liked, but when I asked her out, she turned me down.
And unfortunately, that's just so slightly hinders her overall. After all, Keiko's delivery made me contract diabetes. Both are fine choices though, an overall great performance between the two actors. 21-0 on the other hand is extremely soon, being almost secretary-like to 9S with a no bullshit policy when it comes to him.
Mindless chatter drains energy, 9S. Please keep your comments reserved for mission-related topics.
Later on in the game is where her character shines through though, being extremely motherly to 9S and subtly caring about his well-being.
9S,
What is it?
make sure to do whatever is necessary to avoid combat.
Even going so far as to fight as a B-type unit in order to protect him on the front lines. The climactic point of her character is her fight in the God Box, where it's revealed how she just wants a family due to how lonely she was in the bunker, and to be with 9S. Both actors are on par with how 21-0 should be delivered, a lonely and bitter librarian. Now let's move on to our two main villains, Adam and Steve. Adam's voice actors is Japanese Daisuke Namikawa and English Greg Chun, while Eve's voice actors are Japanese Tatsuhisa Suzuki and English voice actor Ray Chase. Adam is essentially the brains and older brother of the two, being insatiably curious about humanity and android existence, to the point of looking borderline insane. His unending quest for knowledge ultimately becomes a flaw in his character, as he goes so far as to disconnect himself from his own network in order to embrace death with 2B, and ultimately causing his death.
Is this death? So dark, so cold.
Both voice actors managed to capture his cool, calm, and intelligent side on one hand, and his insane, cruel, and heartless side on the other hand. However, Daisuke's performance shows that extremely well done, over-the-top side that people oh so love in Japanese. Moving on to the little brother this time, Steve. Eve. While Adam is the brains of the brothers, Eve is clearly the brawn, being extremely quick-tempered and violent, showing this as early as Part A if you attack him too early during the Adam and Eve boss fight underground. After Adam's death is where Eve's character actually shows up more fully and comes into play, mourning over his brother's death, thus causing the machine uprise to attack the resistance camp and Pascal's village. Tatsuhisa Suzuki captures Eve extremely well, having a voice which is akin to a delinquent when violent, also a simple man-child when looking at the brothers' moments together in Part B. The tone alone shows how much respect he has for his brother, trusting every word he says and doing everything that Adam asks, despite his obvious complaints at first. Ray Chase, on the other hand, just doesn't manage to capture Eve that well. Like the commander, he sounds extremely basic at times. It's like he could voice the shopkeeper in the desert. You know, that one that has like 3 lines. It's even to the point where Eve's boss fight in Part A and B have slightly less impact and tension overall when Ray Chase is voicing him, as opposed to Tatsuhisa, who is literally screaming at the top of his lungs throughout the entire fight and making noises like a delinquent would. Holy shit. Wow, that took a while. Overall, while the Japanese cast perfectly create the characters we see in the story, the majority of the English cast tries their best to capture the character by utilizing their own voices accordingly, and even try to surpass the originals, aka Kyle. I love you so much, Kyle. In the end, either subs or dubs are completely acceptable for this game. and my opinions and discussion on this matter shouldn't change your mind on how you feel. It's an open discussion after all, and I created this mostly just because I can. And I did. And it took days, and I'm tired. Want to add to this discussion? Feel free to comment. Feel free to leave a comment. I don't give a fuck. Leave a comment. This is Wander, signing off. I'm done.